everything about this show is different than the standard isekai. Like this is it's honestly it's what's the right word I should use? It's a privilege to watch Mushoku Tensei every week, man. It's such like you're doing such a good job with the show, and I'm really glad that you turned me on to the show because I might have looked past it, especially with all the hate that it gets. But if you could just look past some of that stuff, I'm telling you guys, this show is so good. Hey guys, so this is a clip from our podcast, drops every Tuesday. We're going to leave it linked up top. So check out that content and don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks, guys.
You know, I think a lot of people, when you expect this kind of anime, like, oh, you know, he's trying to look for his family. This is the whole point of the show at the moment. And it's like, okay, when he meets his family, dude, this is going to be like a wholesome moment, you know, it's going to be tears, you know. But there was some blood spilled a little bit on this one here. So what do you think about this reunion that Rudy has had with his father?
I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting it at all. I was surprised. I took me back. So let's start from the beginning though. So the episode starts up and they're into the Millis country. And first of all, I just have to say it. I have to say it every week. Thank you, Studio Bind, for giving us such a gorgeous adaptation. The world building in Mushoku Tensei is probably the best I've seen in anime. Like, if you want to say for manga, One Piece is the best, then I can understand that for as long as it's going and all the lore that One Piece is built
the depth.
up. But man, for anime, I like this show is so immersive. Like you're there. Like it's not just traveling from this country to this country or here's a kidnapping episode. Like you really get accustomed to these different villages, these different lands. You learn about these different languages early in the first season that you learned about the magic system really well. This is, and again, this is just how I feel about the show. This is like one aspect that I feel lacks from ReZero, where, and probably a lot of isekai out there, where you're just kind of thrown into the world. Mushoku Tensei does such a great job, just feeling immersive. You know, like when the episode started. New music, by the way. So I think
I knew that. I knew that one.
so new arc. We're entering a new arc here. A lot of blue colors, but just so beautiful. Just the backgrounds are so beautiful, man. I can't not talk about it, even though it's not actual part of the story. It's so good.
But it is in a way.
I
mean,
mean,
it's in the back. It's in the background. Yeah, in the background. You know, no one talks about it.
Nobody talks about it, but it needs to be spoken about because it just adds to the flavor of the show. It adds that spice that we need. So yeah, so they're now into Millis. Rudy is like, all right, we're gonna take the day off. He kind of comes up with a plan to make the super look
Crack
good,
back.
but that gets thrown completely out of the window because he tries to stop what he perceives to be a kidnapping, and in the midst of that, Rudy finds his father. Holy shit! So as a manga reader, you were expecting this. Did they do a good job? Was it still fun for you to see this moment animated?
Yeah, in the manga it was slightly different. It kind of like moves a little bit forward, and he just meets him at the Adventurers Guild in the manga, from what I remember. So it wasn't like this action packed, but I liked what they did here. It was nice and interesting. It's like, oh, this style looks interesting. It's like, wait a second. It's like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah,
So
I wonder.
spicy.
So this meeting that they had before they get to the cavern or whatever you want to call it. So it wasn't part of the manga. Maybe this was part of the light novel. Maybe.
Yeah,
I assume.
yeah. It's probably yeah.
But yeah. So basically, he goes to stop the kidnappers. It looks like it's going well for him. Out of nowhere, we have this beautiful lady. Not much clothes on her, but absolutely stunning. We didn't. I don't know. You probably do, but I don't know her name yet. We have not been introduced to her name. I would like to know for research purposes, but. We see her. She kind of fights with Rudy a little bit. That's cool. Then we see this guy come out, and as soon as he called him Rudy, I'm like, okay, because I'm used to Rudeus at this point, right? We're into season 2. We're almost halfway through season 2. Sad to say, but as soon as he called him Rudy, I'm like, okay. I was thinking maybe it's the guy. Remember that one guy from the kidnapper of previously?
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe it's him, but I don't think so. They kind of got rid of him. Like, who could it be? And then it's his father, and his father looks hella different. You know, his father looks like he's probably not doing the best. You know, he's been through hell and back. It seems.
Hmm. Yeah, just like I liked how like his he looks so scruffy.
Yep.
His like he like walked in drinking something. He's he's not in the best space right now.
Yeah. So he meets the father. They and then they go to the tavern. They kind of talk a little bit. And I was expecting okay, so we learned that the blast extended to Buena Village, right? So we learned that a lot of people got displaced. We learned that his father is working with this crew guild of his that they're trying to find and round up people. We actually get like a small cameo with I think it's like his illegitimate child, right? That one little girl that's kind of grown up now, right?
No, that's their the normal
That
child.
oh, was that his child with the maid, or was that just his Rudy sister?
That's that's Rudy's sister.
Okay. So, yeah, that was kinda cool to see. I could see now why it kinda shocked the hell out of him. And, yeah, they basically get into a big ass argument, you know, his father calls him irresponsive. I think from our perspective, because we've seen all the BS that Rudy and his team has gone through, that we kind of understand where he's coming from, but it just didn't even occur to him that the blast, could have displaced even his parents too, you know? And I was expecting him to say, like, "Oh, your mom died," or something like that. That's why he's with this new mistress maybe, but, from what we know, she's just out there somewhere. They all got displaced and they haven't found her yet, which is I'm curious, is that gonna change the nature of the show, or are they gonna is Rudeus gonna try and go find his mother now as opposed to try and get Eris back home? Because now what was kind of a small problem with Eris, not a small problem, but like a very, narrow problem has
Yeah,
now
just like
sort
that's the
of
goal. That's the only goal we have.
that
There's
would
only one
yeah,
goal.
yeah, that was the goal. That was the whole goal, and now that the universe as we know it has kind of expanded here. Now it's like, okay, is he gonna go try and, um, save his mother? Are they gonna try and populate back in Buena Village? Now it's not just trying to get back to home. It seems like home no longer sort of exists. So
Exist. Yeah.
I, I'm curious as to where the show goes. You know, but I'm very fascinated to see where are they going to take this. But as always, a great episode. No complaints from me.
Hmm. Yeah, I like how different the goal feels to a lot of others isekais. Like isekai is usually like, oh, the demon lord, or corrupt government or something. It's like, the only like thing is just like, he's trying to find his family. It's like, okay, I gotta bring Eris back to her family, and then I'll maybe I'll find mine, or maybe we'll do it both at the same time. It's like now it's way different than everything else. There's no big enemy to beat. There's no one guy he has to surpass. So he's got to travel the world to try to find his family. That's
Yeah,
a very nice and different goal that I like.
everything about this show is different than the standard isekai. Like this is it's honestly it's what's the right word I should use? It's a privilege to watch Mushoku Tensei every week, man. It's such like they're doing such a good job with the show, and I'm really glad that you turned me on to the show because I might have looked past it, especially with all the hate that it gets. But if you could just look past some of that stuff, I'm telling you guys, this show is so good. And yeah, to close out the episode, we had a little bit of okay, there's a little bit of a hint that Eris it might be slight, but she might be turning on to Rudius here. Because earlier in the episode, um, oh
The
yeah,
Yasoi
so
guy.
yeah, Mr. Castaway, Mr. Funk, he leaves, and she's like, "You better teach me cooking sometime." And he's like, "Why?" And she doesn't say anything. And Rudeus is like, tell us why, tell us why." But that might just be him being perverted, right? But then towards the end, she's like, she goes like goblin hunting. That would have been fun to see. That would have been even if it was like a minute. I would have liked to have seen that, with her hot temper. But basically, she learns that Rudius is all sad because of the events of the day, and she goes to console him a little bit, right? But initially, she's pissed. She's like, "Oh, your father did that? I'll go murder him." And then Ruijerd has to be like, "No, don't do that. Don't get involved in family business or family affairs." That's what the episode title was for this week. But yeah, so she's now getting upset on his behalf, and she's now going out of her way to console him. So I don't know. I don't know. I like what's brewing here. Whatever's brewing here, it's slight. It's slight, but it's beginning. It's beginning, and I like it. So that's good to see. What'd you think of all that?
Yeah, I loved it. Nice little moments. That's what the show isn't afraid to slow down a little bit. It doesn't need to be pure action all the time. There's a little bit of action this episode, but the show, it doesn't care. If it spends like a minute and a half, just doing background shots. And a lot of shows it's like, oh, they're wasting time. But with Mushoku Tensei, it's like, oh, this is not wasting time. Like we're building the city here. Oh, we're gonna take a little bit slow in this, a little bit more emotional moment here. Let it
Yeah.
let it brew. Not just
Mhm.
be like, oh, let me go find your dad, and it just cuts away or something. It really sticks on the moments it wants to.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank God that they do. I mean, I'm really happy that they do. I think that these slow moments really add to the immersion and the experience overall. I thought it was a great episode. I guess you could say slower in terms of not much action this episode, but in terms of plot, lots of plot.
Ramifications, yeah.
The ramifications of this episode, and I don't know, you're the manga reader here, but I assume that everything kind of changes at this point. What was once a sort of narrow goal now is now I don't even know where they take it from now. It's not even, necessarily trying to get home now. There's no home to sort of return to. They don't even know where his mother's at. So, yeah, I'm fascinated with this episode. Final thoughts before we wrap up, this week's, episode of Mushoku Tensei?
Good shit, good shit. As always, it's not like it's always got me on the edge of my seat. It's like, oh, okay, so now we got something new to think about. While we have the next episode. So good shit, man. Good shit.
Good shit as always. Weebs, comment down below if you're watching Mushoku Tensei with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this week's episode. And if you're an anime only like me, where you think that this could potentially lead? I mean, I'm very curious and very excited to hear what some of you might think about that.